travelers, welcome. Today I am ecstatic to show the third type of what if. Finally, there will not only be Naruto's and Deku's on this channel, but Tanjiro's as well. This is a new front for me. A brand new front indeed. But without any further ado, behold our title for today's video. This is what if Tanjiro was Shukaku. For those who do not know, Shukaku is a sand spirit of sorts from Naruto, the One Tails, the almighty fat raccoon or tanuki. Basically, he's a living power-up. Or not quite, he's basically a demon which can be sealed inside of someone or something. And he has a lot of powers. I wouldn't say a lot, but he has a great arsenal of powers. But anywho, let us begin. Welcome, everyone, to What If Tanjiro Was Shukaku Part 1. We began many years ago. This world, even before the time of the Sage of Six Paths, it had only females, and the only male to ever be born was not exactly born, or such created, by splitting a primordial creature known as the Ten Tails into 9 different pieces. Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths. You created 9 different forms for each of the chakras, using the creation of all things, jutsu. By using this legendary skill, 9 different beasts were created. 8 female, 1 male, the first and only male to ever exist. Eventually, a lot of random bullcrap went down. The male was sealed and unsealed many times. Many wars happened, many died, and we skip far past the events of Boruto, with one thing still there. And with one thing that happened in Boruto still there, but I'll tell you that later. Now, we begin, and our story begins in Japan, at the temple of the Wind God. And at the temple of the Wind and Sand God, apparently many years ago, the first non-goddess came to existence. With less as reserves of power than the other goddesses, but still, if he had more power and more energy, he would have been able to defeat anyone. Then, anyways, we go to the point of view of 2 demon slayers. These slayers are known as Sanami and Uzui. Tenga and Sanami. Sanami and Tenga were simply on a mission. They'd heard of strange things happening in this temple. Thinking it was a demon, they went to check it out. However, when they got there, it was awfully quiet, only because they returned at night. They first arrived at morning. The temple was bustling. The temple was bustling with with many monks and people praising the words of the and praising the image of one God, not just his image, statues and stories as well. According to their myths, this one God was able to forge the very mountains which the temples around were built on. This one God was able to push away thousands of soldiers and millions of enemy soldiers with one breath, just by breathing. However, the two returned to the temple at night when there was no one there, not even a janitor. They explored the temple only to find not really that much, till they arrived at a kind of secret lower chamber. The lower chamber had seals written all over the walls. Some, hell, even some, what is the word? Even some inscribings on the walls, warnings, mostly tales, legends, but a lot of warnings saying, do not open the tea kettle. They were confused. The two were confused, of course, as they were thinking, oh, maybe it was just some bad tea that threw them off. But no, oh, how wrong they were. They reached the very bottom of and they reached the very center of the very bottom of this temple. The very bottom was deep within the mountain itself, within the mountain that the temple was built on. Far deep within. And there they sought the strangest thing. Now imagine the tea kettle is closed without any light and without any body part shining through. Alright, they saw just a round black tea kettle. Confused, the two said, I'm confused. The two looked at each other and said, weird. So we were told to investigate a temple that seems completely normal, aside from one tea kettle surrounded by seals and warnings on the walls. As then Sanami said, Tenga, I warn you, do not open the... But as Tenga was speaking, the teapot would be opened. As Sanami was speaking, the teapot would be opened, as Sanami would look to her left to see and would look in front of her to see Tenga opening the teapot. As Sanemi would say, Tenga, what did I just say? As in Tenga then said, sorry Sanemi, I just had to know what was inside of this. As then the temple began to shake. And not the temple, just the floor with which they were in. As it seemed as if sand and dust were flying off of the walls and the floor. It seemed as if centuries of dust and sand and building up was instantly cleaned and sucked into the tea kettle. The two walked over to the tea kettle only to see this. The tea kettle's lid popped right open. I'm slammed right down and popped right open, revealing a face. Suddenly, two arms formed out of the tea kettle, along with two legs and a tail. The two looked down and said, "This is the demon we were sent to slay?" How the hell does that thing look like it could hurt anyone? Hell, that demon looks like she couldn't even hurt a fly. As the mysterious creature would then say, "Excuse me, I'm a boy, not a girl." As then the two would look and say, "It talks." As then Tenga would say, "Wait, you're a boy?" Question. What year do you think it is? As he would then say, "Well, duh. Obviously, it's... Well, duh. Obviously, it's 580... I mean, it's 5892 BC. Obviously." The two would then look at him in utter confusion and would say, It's 15... It's 15... Sorry, it's 1678 AD. As the creature would then say, "Holy hell, I've been stuck in this teapot I've been stuck down here for, well, a couple of millennia." Sorry about that. Now, if you excuse me, I'll just walk right out of here. As the two would then hold their blades at him. As... Hold on. Sorry about that. As the two would then say, "Hold on. Where do you think you're going?" First, a couple of questions. Where do you think you're going? What are boys? And what is this boy you speak? And what are these boys you speak of? And what exactly are you? As he would then say, "Oh, well, what I am doing, quite simple. I'm escaping, because I've been sealed in this dang in this dang basement for probably over 6,000 years, which is very long. And two, a boy is what I am. I have different body parts than a female. I am actually the only boy in existence. Very rare. I know." As he would then say, and lastly, I am a biju, or a tailed beast. Pretty much I'm one tenth of a extremely overpowered primordial. Yeah, I'm 1/10 of a god. In a way, I am 1/10 of a god. My 8 siblings were the other 8 of the 10 pieces, and then there was the dead husk. And then there was the dead husk of the godly creature before it got split apart. So yeah, merge all those 10 pieces together, and what do you get? You get the ten-tailed beast, or in other words, a primordial force of oblivion and destruction, hatred, malice, and violence. My name is now. My name back then, and I used to go by Shukaku. However, my my first name, which my father gave me, was Tanjiro. As the two would then say, well, Tanjiro, you're going to have to come with us. As he'd then say, you'll have to catch me first. As suddenly his hands would extend and to about 60 feet long, as he'd then begin using them to sling and shot himself out of the basement of the temple. As he'd then say, I'm free! However, as he was singing his praises, he didn't notice 2 blades with chains attached to them wrap around his tea kettle, thus pulling him right into the hands of Uzui Tenga. As he would then say, dang it! God, curse this dang tea kettle! As the two would then say, final question, why can't you leave that tea kettle? Hold on. Oh wait, no, that's just my cat. As Tanjiro would say, fine. The simple answer is I'm sealed here. What is a seal, you might ask? Basically, an annoying amount of markings keeping me and keeping us Biju stuck in places we don't like being, such as inside of humans, basically using humans as vessels, which I hate doing because I like being free, and then annoying teapots like this one. Our shukaku would then say. And question. I have a deal for you two. I'll come with you and do whatever you want or need me to do, just as long as you, and just as long as you girls, how about, yeah, free me, as they would say. How would we exactly do that, and what would be the, pros and cons of freeing you? As Tanjiro would then say, oh, that's quite simple. Pros, let's see. I'd be able to actually stretch and eat because I haven't eaten in over 6,000 years. Let's see again. I'd be able to help you with whatever you want. So, I help you with whatever you want and or need help with. I could be a great service to you girls, Tanjiro said. As the two would then say, alright, fine, how do we free you? As Tanjiro would then say, oh, that is really simple. All you have to do is all you have to do is slice the annoying. All you have to do is just slice this annoying tea kettle into many, many, many tiny pieces. Got it? As the two would then say, and alright, as while Sanami was just about to say, hey, hey, Tenga, stop, Tenga had already sliced the tea kettle into pieces, as leaving Sanmi to just stare at Tenga like, are you friggin' serious? As suddenly, sand would begin swirling from the sharded fragments of the broken fragments of the tea kettle, swirling around and around and around to create the human form, as he would then say, freedom is good. As the two would then say, so, first off, what are your powers? As he would then say, oh, that's quite simple. Let's see, I can shapeshift due to being made of sand. I can basically teleport because I can have the sand, and I can have the specks of sand that form my forms basically separate and then appear in an entirely different area. Basically teleportation. My next ability is control over the wind. Now that's an OP ability. And now that's one of my best abilities. However, I can also grind things into my sand to the point where my sand actually becomes that thing. Say you have a special weapon which can do, like, say, fire, and which can, like, spread fire. I can grind that blade or weapon into my sand so much that the particles of the blade actually are fused into the sand. Thus, my attacks would actually be able to use that fire effect, and thus my body would actually have that fire effect if I were to physically punch someone or something. As he would then say, I can also shapeshift into any form I very much choose. Any size, shape, person, place, or thing you can think of, I can turn into it. As he would then say. And then I can also use my chakra to create the Bijudama. Basically, an extremely large orb of concentrated energy that obliterates everything in its path. In other words, it's bad news for enemies. As then the two would say, alright, now come with us. As Tanjiro would say, gladly. After all, a deal's a deal. You did free me, so I guess I can listen to this mortal request. As the three would walk over to and would eventually arrive at the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters. And at the Corps headquarters, or the Demon Slaying Corps headquarters. When they reached this place, Tanjiro simply looked all around him, seeing many females and 7 other females all looking like they possessed a lot of strength. As Tanjiro would then say, "There's something different about you 9 than the others. Can you tell me what it is?" As Tenga would say, "Oh, we are the 9 Hashira, the strongest demon slayers." As he, as he would, and as Tanjiro would then say, "Demon slayers? Why would you need demon slayers? Back in my day, it was gods we were fighting. So, what the heck are demons? Unless you're talking about Jinchuriki. Everyone back in my day calls Jinchuriki demons. Even though they're basically vessels for us Biju." As then they would say, "Not quite." As they would then go on to explain what demons were. As Tanjiro would say, "Oh, so in other words, they're bad guys." And so in other words, they're basically the bad guys. Eyes or monsters under the beds, and that lurk in the shadows. As then the two would nod. They would then bring him to a meeting of the Hashira. As the 9 would say, why did you two bring a demon here without killing it?" As then they would then explain that he's not a demon, even though he certainly looks like one with the blue marks on his body. As we skip to when the master arrives. As Kageya Ubayashiki would then say, "Please tell me, my daughters, why you have brought a demon here instead of killing it." As Sanami would then say, "It's not a demon. It is apparently a Biju, from what we've heard." As then Kageya would then say, "A Biju? Question, what was its name?" As then they'd say, "Hey," and as Sanami would then say, "Went by 2 names, Shukaku and Tanjiro." As Ubayashiki would then say, "You have found the One Tails, a very powerful creature, once an ally to humanity. During the Great Chakra War, and during the Great Ninja Wars, and during the Great Fourth Ninja War. A war against gods and humanity, for the sake of the very world. A war forgotten to time itself, and frankly, I even thought it was a myth, until now." As they would then show, as then they would ask for Tanjiro to show himself. As he would then, and as the sand of his body would then swirl around to create his smaller form, just not in the teapot. Hold on. As Tanjiro would then appear on Kageya's shoulder, as he would be in his chibi form. As he would then say, "Behold, everyone, I am the amazing, the all-powerful Shukaku, aka Tanjiro, the one-tailed Taku, and the one-tailed Tanuki, one of the legendary 9-tailed beasts." As all the Hashira would then say, "Who?" As Tanjiro would sigh, "One long history lesson later, we notice, we see some, we zoom in and see someone sneaking through the bushes, watching Tanjiro with all of their 6 eyes, watching creepily yet patiently as we see Kokoshibo, or Kokoshiba, the legendary, terrifying, and the legendary, terrifying, and the legendary, terrifying Upper Moon 1. As she would then say, so it is true. I guess I should tell Mistress that I was and that I am sorry for being a buffoon. And thinking she was lying, or was buying into some fake bullcrap. As the woman would seemingly teleport, as a biwa would play from all directions. As the demon would be teleported to what seemed as if it was a infinite temple, which seemingly defied, and which the very build of it seemingly defied the laws of gravity and physics and reality. For those who don't know, this is what I picture hell to be. Just an endlessly long, maze-like palace that doesn't give a crap about gravity or physics. Anywho, she would then teleport in front of a woman with long black hair and red and black eyes and beautiful pale skin. As the woman would then say, Kokoshiba, what, Upper Moon 1, what have you found? As the 6-eyed demon would then say, Mistress, it appears that the 2 hashira had returned from from Tanuki Temple, but bringing along with them the legendary hairy one-tailed beast. As suddenly it seemed as if a blast of killing intent as if a blast of killing intent blasted through the entire infinite temple and blasted through the entire infinite palace. As she would then say, what? You're telling me that the very creature which I founded the race of demons on, the principles of, before did you know that I based the entire demon race off of the one tails before the fourth, and before its actions of the Fourth Great War? Yes, indeed I did. I trained us to be strong, and I forced our race to be strong, to feed off of blood, to hate and despise and want to kill all and eat all humans. And yet, You simply let our enemies somehow find and bring the very, um, our very Lord, our very matriarch, the inspiration of demonkind itself, to their headquarters. You know, the one of the only places I can't find, as in Kokoshiba would then say, if when you say it like that, it really does sound terrible. As Muzan would then say, indeed, Upper Moon One. It is clear that you alone, even though you're strong and somewhat intelligent, you alone are not suited to do this mission. That is why I am sending the other moons with the other upper moons with you to collect our Lord tonight. The, the insane, the insane desert spirit. The desert spirit of insanity. That was his original title. Our Lord. Our inspiration. Now, if you have not brought him back within 12 hours, you will be punished extremely harsh and to extremes I cannot even tell you of right now. Understood? As the now shaking Upper Moon One would then say, yes, mistress, and would teleport away. As we see 6 other demons appear here from the shadows, as one would then say, so, oh, I guess this is the big mission? the one of a, the one where we will find the true Lord? As then Akaza would then say, shut up, Doma. Look, we all know you and Muzan-sama, and we all know you and Mistress have a weird ass obsession with the one-tailed beast. I, too, have an obsession. Not for the same reasons you have, but simply, I just want to fight the dang thing. I'm the damn bastard and see how strong he is. I mean, it is. As then, Upper Moon. Hold on. Oh dear, don't tell me Gods. Hold on. Seemingly, Nakime's picture did not load in. Sorry about that. As Nakime would then say, hey, do not disrespect our Lord, or Doma. Remember, he is stronger than you. Hold on. Sorry about that. As Doma would then say, yeah, Akaza. Yeah, Akaza-chan. As Akaza would then say, "Shut up, Doma. I'm not your friend. I'm not your buddy. I'm not your pal. I am at least, no, I am at most a business associate with you. That is all. Nothing more, and probably a lot less. Understood?" As Doma would then frown. As then another demon would then say, "Don't be you so rude to be so rude to Doma-san and to Doma-chan. She's just trying her best. And she's just trying her best." Sorry, this is the best female picture I can find for Hantengu. And I can't find any looking even remotely feminine too. I'm for Kyoku. So I've decided to change the ranking of the moons. Kyoku is non-existent. Nakime is upper moon 4. And Hantengu is upper moon 5. Although they're basically equal. Yeah. Or possibly Hantengu would be theorized to be stronger if he actually tries. But it is still unknown. As then another demon would then say, "Shut your yammering. We're going to be capturing a god tonight. Can't you imbeciles comprehend that? We're capturing a god. Meaning we have to be quiet, quick, and prepared for anything that this guy could throw at us. The only male in existence." As Indaki would then say, "My sister's right. My sister's right." Although, even though I do share the same reasons for my obsessions with him, with Musa, I'm with Mistress and Doma-chan, we still have to be prepared. After all, obsession or not, this is a god we are talking about. One who was rumored to be able to fight other gods and destroy entire villages. One that was rumored to be so powerful, the only way to defeat it was to seal it away. Because if you were to kill it, it would just reform. As we go back to Tanjiro, who we see, he basically, in his human form, preparing for bed in the butterfly mansion. As Tanjiro would then fall asleep, getting flashbacks of unpleasant things. He would see his 8 siblings fading, dying, as he knew that this was clearly a vision. Or not exactly a vision, but something to catch him up on the stuff he missed, such as his 8 siblings passing. How, you might ask? He knew the one reason. The Biju's ultimate weapon. Basically a last-ditch effort. If all else fails, it was the only thing you could do. Baryon mode. Due to the insane amounts of chakra the others had, their Baryon modes would cause and would cost all of their chakra. Well, their baryon modes would only cost a small amount of chakra. However, if they wanted it to really be a last-ditch effort, they placed all they had in the singular mode. Thus, Shukaku learned from their mistakes in this dream, and in this way to catch up on things. And then he came up with it, a way how to use baryon mode without dying. A way for himself to use baryon mode without ending up like his 8 passed away siblings. He smiled. Even in his sleep, he released a terrifyingly wicked grin. One which Doma, who was literally standing above him, would then grin back, as she would then say, "It appears our Lord is having the most maliciously magnificent dreams. I wonder what he's dreaming about. Murdering villages? Devouring humans? Oh, maybe killing people in the Fourth Great War. While he did help the human side in the Fourth Great War, and that bums me out a lot. He is still our Lord. He is still the inspiration for all demons. The original demon." As Tanjiro would then wake up instantly, as he'd then say, "Who are you? What are you doing in my room?" As then the 6 would introduce themselves, as they would then say, "We are the 6 upper moons, the 6 strongest demons below the Demon Queen. And our mission is to capture you and bring you to her," said Akaza. As Tanjiro would then say, "You want to capture me? Fine. But only if you can beat me." As suddenly sand would begin forming from his body, seemingly flying from his body onto his body parts, instantly regenerating the sand, seeming as if he was an endless supply of sand. His body began to morph shape and size, eventually becoming a 9-foot tall raccoon-looking demon, as he would then say, "You wanna go? Let's go!" As his arms would then extend extremely long, as if they were slithering like snakes, but also extending like rubber. And he could still control them while they were extending, as he would then say, "Demons, if you think you have anything against me, you got another thing coming." As he began bouncing all around the room, which was quite large, as they expected him to be, the size of a city. So they made his bedroom basically the size of a temple. Yes, he sleeps in like an extremely large basement type area. As his attacks would be bouncing off the walls. As he would then say, "Have some tornadoes," as he would then begin slashing at the air with his arms. As the swings with his arms would create so much air pressure that they would actually cause the winds to pick up and begin swirling around in tornado form, as he would begin creating tornadoes this way and launching them towards his opponents. As he would then say, "Is that all you got? And come on, hit me. You haven't even hit me once." As Akaza, getting a bit irritated with him, would then say, "Destructive death. Alright then, you want a strong attack? Fine, I've got a strong attack." And she would then get into a stance, as appeared to be a snowflake type shape created out of her own and out of red glowing blood would form from underneath her. And she would then say, "Destructive death, compass needle." And she would then basically begin blitzing at Tanjiro, who would be getting hit by every single attack that Akaza would launch, as his body would then separate and explode, as she would then think, "Holy shit, I just killed a god. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Musan's going to kill me." However, before she could even think the second part, the sand would then instantly reform, as he would then smile and say, "What, is that the best you children have?" If so, I'm disappointed. The six of the seven strongest demons of this era should at least be a bit stronger than that. What are you, like the seventh strongest demon? As Akaza would then say, "I'm the third. I'm the fourth, counting in our Lord." As as Tanjiro would then say, "That's hilarious. I doubt I even have to use my ultimate form. I doubt I even have to use my ultimate form to beat you six." As Yutaro and Daki would then attack at the same time, as Daki would then launch her sash-like tentacles was in strange patterns of attacks, trying to cut or at least wrap around Tanjiro, who would be tanking every hit. His limbs would even be sliced off, but would just simply turn into dust and turn into sand and then reform on his body. As he'd then say, "Don't you realize you can't kill sand?" Fools. As then Gyutaro would then say, "Alright then, demon blood art, flying blood sickles." As over 1,000 large blood-like crescent shapes would begin slashing and begin flying towards Tanjiro, who would simply morph his arm into a katana and would slash through all of them. As he'd then say, "Is that the best you guys got?" I am disappointed. As Hantengu would then morph into all of her forms, as none of them would really be doing any damage. That was until the Hakuten, at least that's what I think it is. I mean, its name is. would then and blast Tanjiro with a large amount of lightning, frying off one of his arms, as he would then say, "Oh, so that's how you want to play it, huh? Electricity, huh? What? I suppose one of you also have a fire-based ability?" As then, Hantengu's other clone would then blast fire at him, using a dragon head. As then Tanjiro's legs would seemingly turn to glass, as he would then fall over, as he'd then say, "Oh, that is just annoying." As he'd then say, "Alright, fine. You, what is your name?" As he would then point to Hantengu. As Hantengu would then say, "My name is Hantengu. And my name is Hantenga. Upper Moon 5. The 6th strongest demon. If you count the Lord." As Tanjiro would then say, "It's hilarious how the 4th strongest demon wouldn't even deal any long-lasting damage to me, but you were able to turn my legs into glass and electrocute the sand particles of my arm to basically bounce off of each other. In other words, you made my arm explode." Well then, if that's how it'll be, then I guess, Hantenga, you have earned the right to see my ultimate power. As he would then say, "Baiyan mode." As he would then turn into his humanoid form, as his hair would then turn red. But 2 tanuki ears would form within the red hair. Of course, the tanuki ears would be red as well. As then black markings would appear on his human face, and so would a red marking on his forehead. As a large cloak would also begin to form. As then, from the back of the cloak, a ginormous tail would form as well. As they'd then say, "What is this? Why do you look different? Why is your hair red?" As Tanjiro would then say, "I modeled this form after my last host, and after my last and probably favorite vessel, Garasabaku." He was actually strong. He didn't just use my powers alone. He used his own, which were, of course, amazing sand creation and manipulation and abilities. Now, he is a worthy opponent, unlike you girls. And unlike most of you girls, you don't even deserve to see my truth, to see this power. But because Hantenga over here was able to do some actual physical damage to me, well, I've decided to show you some of my power. As he would then begin blitzing them at 10 times 10 times the speed of your Riichi levels of skill. As he'd then say, "What? You never hear a taijutsu? Where I'm from, it's really common." As he'd then say, "Don't like taijutsu? That's okay." As he would then say, 1,000 air, 1,000, and as he would then say, 1,000 wind strike slashes, and 1,000 air sickles, 1,000 flying air wind sickles. As then Gyutaro would then say, "What the? He copied my move." As then and as then 1,000 and almost invisible crescent-shaped ape slashes made of air and made of wind would begin slashing at all of them. Kokoshibo would be slicing through most of these, while Akaza would punch the attacks heading towards her, and the others would do similar things to block the attack. As Tanjiro would then say, "Very well then, behold, sand," and as he would then say, Tanjiro style, minigun tail," as his tail would then form into a large sand, and as his tail would then morph into a large barrel type shape. As he would then say, "Eat sand bullets." As then he would begin firing about 1,000 heavily packed bullets made of iron sand and made of the metallic sand used in Sasori's one puppet able to use metal sand. As this, however, is a much stronger ability. As the bullets would begin flying, over 1,000,000, they would even be bouncing off the walls. As Tanjiro would then say, "Dance for me, girls, dance!" As he would then begin losing control of his humanoid state, as he'd then say, "Oh no, not again." As his body would then begin swirling around, as he would then turn into half of his normal size. And as he'd turn into a quarter of his normal size. As he would then begin laughing uncontrollably and insanely, as he would then say, "Die," as he would begin spamming attacks from and as he begins spamming all sorts of different attacks, air bullets, wind slashes, hand weapons, sand bullets, sand tsunamis, and giant sand drill spears. Whatever you could imagine, he was doing it. As he would then say, and as, well, Kokoshibo had enough, as she would then use her demon blood art to begin morphing her Nichiren blade. And she would then begin spamming the moon breathing, as Shukaku would see that this blade, and that the blade she was using, had some amazing abilities, amazing probabilities, including some demonic blood. Shukaku, not really thinking much, decided to grind the blade, which obviously he then grabbed it with his right hand, as his right hand began turning into a sort of grinder, or no, basically it turned into one of those things you use to sharpen swords. However, it was all of his fingers which turned into that, basically creating a sort of spinny spinny gauntlet of death as he would begin grinding down the Kokoshibo's blade, or one of her blades which had spawned out of her body. As when he was completely done with the singular blade, he would then say, "Now let's see what I can do." As he would then say, sandy moon breathing. As he'd then say, "First form, desert palace." As he would then create an extremely large slash with a whole bunch of sand and wind slashes surrounding this attack. As he would then say, "Oh, I like that ability very much." As then multiple blades would also spawn out of his body. As he'd then say, "I'm gonna have fun with this." As his eyes would seemingly start glowing with a sort of demonic gold and black color, eventually morphing to red with black. And it is red, and his yellow and blue eyes would then turn to the same patterns, but the yellow would turn red and the blue would turn black. As he would be going on an insane rampage. As each of the smaller looking tail, and as each of the smaller pieces of his tail, you know how his tail looks like it's made of 1,000 tails? Basically imagine each of those smaller tail-looking pieces turning into a completely different weapon. Each of them has turned into a completely different weapon than the other. So yeah, he has like 1,000 weapons on his tail, as he would then begin spamming these attacks as well. As he would even begin spinning around in a circle, creating a ginormous sand, wind, and metal tornado. As then a large booming voice would then say, "How do you like this, ladies? You wanted the one tails? You got the one tails. And you wanted the one tails at his full power? You got the one tails at his full power." As the singular attack would cause a lot of damage, not only to the demons, but the room itself. As the demons now had to be careful of the now spinning and flying blades in this tornado, due to the fact that it was Nichiren steel, which Tanjiro grinded out of Kokushibo's blades. Thus, if they cut their necks, they're game over. So everyone was basically being careful, trying not to cut, trying not to touch, and trying not to have the blades hit their necks. As he would then say, "Oh no," as the tornado would then begin and picking up speed and going even faster and faster and faster. as he then say, game over. As the tornado would begin and going so fast, I'd be going at Mach 20 speeds, somehow not destroying the entire butterfly mansion, or killing any of the demons, just slicing the crap out of every single body part other than their neck. As then the tornado itself would then expand and explode, thus sending all the demons flying into walls. All of the sand would be sent flying in giant spike-like formations all over the walls as well, as Tanjiro would then morph back into his chibi form. As he would then say, "Can't take much more," as he would then fall over and pass out. The 6 would then, and the 7, if we count Daki and Gyutaro being different entities, would then grab Tanjiro and would put him in a indestructible and inside of a very hard to break a container. In other words, it was a teapot, and it was a tea kettle, a sealed tea kettle. As they would then teleport, with Tanjiro in their hands, still stuck within a tea kettle, this time not being able to come out until it was reopened. As they would then reach the Infinite Palace. As they would then hand the tea kettle to Muzan, whilst all of them were shaking. Muzan then grabbed the tea kettle and walked back to her room. And that is where I'm going to end this part. I hope you all have enjoyed part 1 of What If Tanjiro Was Shukaku. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you all later. Goodbye. And, skadoosh.